Imagine a plan so massive it could reshape the planet. 980 billion trees planted to turn the Sahara Desert into a lush, green paradise. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real, and it's dividing experts around the globe. Could this bold idea reverse climate change, restore ecosystems, and secure humanity's future? Or could it unleash a cascade of unintended consequences that make things worse? This isn't just about planting trees. It's about the delicate balance of nature, the limits of technology, and humanity's willingness to take risks on an unimaginable scale. Stay tuned, because what you're about to discover could redefine what's possible and how far we're willing to go to save our world. Imagine standing in the middle of the Sahara, but instead of endless dunes, you're surrounded by lush forests and fields buzzing with life. Hard to picture, right? Yet, some people believe it's possible, turning the world's largest desert into a green paradise. This isn't just about pretty landscapes. It's about tackling climate change, creating biodiversity, and fighting water scarcity. It sounds like a dream, but dreams this big come with a catch. Here's the scale of it. 980 billion trees. Yeah, billion. That's more than 12 Amazons worth of trees in a place that's currently nothing but sand and sun. The idea is to make the Sahara a massive carbon capture machine, soaking up harmful CO2 and restoring balance to our climate. Sounds like a win, doesn't it? But it makes you wonder, what kind of ripple effects would such a massive change cause? Because here's the thing, the Sahara isn't just a patch of sand. It's part of a global system. Its dust literally feeds rainforests like the Amazon, carrying vital nutrients across oceans. Turning it green might mean disrupting those natural processes, affecting ecosystems we don't even think about. Fixing one problem could accidentally create others. It's a classic, be careful what you wish for situation. Still, it's hard not to be intrigued. Could we really pull this off? What would it mean for the planet? And for us? But before anything can grow, there's one big hurdle to tackle. Where would we find enough water to make this dream a reality? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before a single tree can grow, we need to solve one colossal problem: water. The Sahara is as dry as it gets, and creating all that greenery would demand 4.9 trillion cubic meters of water every year. To put that into perspective, it's more than the entire world uses annually. This isn't just a question of water. It's a question of how to do the impossible. Where could we even find this much water? Some experts point to ancient underground aquifers, vast reservoirs hidden beneath the desert for thousands of years. But draining them dry could spell disaster for future generations. Then there's desalination, taking salt out of seawater, but it's outrageously expensive and energy-intensive. Solving water scarcity on this scale isn't just a technical challenge. It's a high-stakes gamble with the planet's resources. Even if we had the water, how would we transport it across a desert the size of the United States? Massive pipelines, powered by solar farms, would need to crisscross the dunes, pumping life into the sands. It sounds futuristic, but it would take decades of global coordination and trillions of dollars. Can humanity unite for such an ambitious goal? The answer isn't clear, but the stakes couldn't be higher. Still, there's something fascinating about challenges this big. They push us to rethink what's possible. If we can engineer rivers in the desert, imagine what else we could achieve. But for now, all this talk of infrastructure brings us to the next crucial piece of the puzzle: cost and logistics. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: money. Turning the Sahara green isn't just expensive, it's mind-blowingly costly. We're looking at trillions of dollars, not just in upfront investment, but also in maintaining the effort over decades. This isn't a project for one country. It would require global cooperation on a scale humanity has rarely seen. The sheer logistics alone could give anyone a headache. Think about what's needed: desalination plants to generate fresh water, solar farms to power them, and pipelines stretching thousands of miles to transport that water. Each piece of infrastructure would be a marvel of modern engineering. But together, it's an unprecedented challenge. And that's before we consider maintenance. How do you keep such a massive system running in one of the harshest climates on Earth? Of course, the costs aren't just financial. They're also geopolitical. Who decides how the resources are shared? How do you ensure that local communities benefit and aren't displaced by the project? These are the kinds of questions that turn a technical challenge into a diplomatic minefield. Without careful planning, the dream of a green Sahara could spark more conflict than cooperation. Still, History has shown that humanity is capable of extraordinary feats when the stakes are high. From landing on the moon to building the internet, we've tackled seemingly impossible challenges before. But even if we figure out the money and the logistics, there's another pressing question to consider. What happens to the planet's delicate ecosystems if we go through with this transformation? But here's where it gets tricky. What happens when we mess with nature's balance? Turning the Sahara into a green paradise sounds amazing, but the desert isn't just a barren wasteland. It's a vital cog in Earth's natural systems. For example, Sahara sands don't just sit there. They're carried by winds across the Atlantic to nourish the Amazon rainforest with essential nutrients like phosphorus. Imagine disrupting that cycle. What happens to the Amazon if the Sahara no longer sends its gift of life? The potential ripple effects go even further. A green Sahara could drastically change regional weather patterns. More greenery could mean more rainfall in some places, but less in others. It's a delicate web, and pulling one thread could unravel parts of it. Biodiversity, already under threat globally, could face even greater challenges. Some species thrive in the desert's harsh conditions, and they might not survive this transformation. And then there's the bigger picture, climate change. A lush Sahara might absorb more sunlight than the reflective sands do now, potentially heating up the Earth even more. It's a strange paradox, isn't it? Solving one problem might unintentionally make another worse. Sure, new cloud formations could help offset this, but it's impossible to predict the full impact. Nature has a way of reminding us that nothing comes without a cost. The Sahara holds secrets and challenges that could redefine our future. Want to uncover more game-changing insights? Subscribe now and turn on notifications. You'll be the first to explore the untold stories shaping our planet. Who knows? The next discovery could transform the way you see the world forever. If we thought turning the Sahara green was all sunshine and rainbows, think again. One of the strangest twists in this plan is that greening the desert could actually heat up the planet. Here's why. Deserts reflect sunlight, bouncing heat back into space. But a lush, green Sahara would absorb more sunlight, potentially raising global temperatures. Imagine trying to fix climate change and accidentally making it worse. Talk about an ironic twist. The story doesn't end there, though. A greener Sahara could lead to more cloud cover, which might help cool the planet by reflecting sunlight. It's a balancing act, and the scales are anything but stable. These clouds could also alter rainfall patterns across Africa, Europe, and beyond. Would it bring relief to drought-stricken areas or create chaos in regions already struggling with extreme weather? It's the kind of uncertainty that keeps scientists awake at night. And let's not forget how interconnected our climate systems are. A green Sahara wouldn't just change local weather. It could influence ocean currents, jet streams, and even the monsoons. These shifts could have ripple effects across continents, from agriculture in Asia to hurricanes in the Americas. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the outcomes are far from predictable. So, while this vision could be a game-changer for combating climate change, it's also a stark reminder of how delicate our planet's systems are. The question isn't just whether we can green the Sahara, it's whether we should. But this grand experiment is only part of the puzzle. What about the people living at the heart of this transformation? Now, let's shift the spotlight to the people at the heart of this grand vision, the communities living in and around the Sahara. Transforming the desert might sound like a global triumph, but what would it mean for those whose lives are already deeply tied to this landscape? Nomadic tribes, farmers, and local economies have adapted to the harsh environment for centuries. Changing it could upend traditions and ways of life that have endured for generations. Imagine a lush Sahara attracting investors, tourists, and massive infrastructure projects. On one hand, it could create jobs, improve access to resources, and boost regional economies. On the other, it might displace communities, disrupt existing cultures, and fuel conflicts over land and water rights. History has shown us that progress can come at a steep cost if the voices of those affected aren't heard. And what about the environment's cultural significance? The Sahara has long been a place of mystery, resilience, and inspiration. Turning it into something entirely different could erase parts of its identity. Think about the ancient rock art and archaeological sites scattered across the desert. They tell stories of a time when the Sahara was green before. Would this new transformation respect the echoes of the past? The challenge here isn't just ecological or logistical. It's deeply human. How can this vision balance global ambitions with the needs and rights of those who call the Sahara home? As we explore the possibilities of a green desert, we must also ask, What kind of legacy are we leaving for the people who will inherit it? Transforming the Sahara isn't just a scientific or environmental challenge. It's a test of global unity. A project this massive would require countries from around the world to come together, pooling resources, expertise, and political will. But here's the catch. How do you align the interests of nations with vastly different priorities, especially when so many are already divided over climate change? It's like trying to get everyone to agree on the same dinner menu at a family reunion. Nearly impossible. Imagine the sheer scale of diplomacy needed. Who decides which countries fund the project and which ones benefit most? How do you ensure fairness in resource allocation while avoiding the trap of corruption and power struggles? The Sahara might seem remote, but its transformation would ripple across the globe, affecting economies, politics, and even security. Without strong agreements in place, this dream could quickly turn into a geopolitical nightmare. And let's not forget the regions surrounding the Sahara. From North Africa to sub-Saharan nations, local governments would play a critical role in implementing and maintaining the project. But many of these areas face political instability, economic challenges, and social unrest. Adding a project of this scale into the mix could either unite them under a shared goal or exacerbate existing tensions. The stakes couldn't be higher. Yet history has shown us that humanity can achieve extraordinary things when it works together. Think of the International Space Station or the global fight against diseases like smallpox. If nations can overcome their differences for a common purpose, the Sahara's transformation could set a powerful example. But even with cooperation, there's another layer to consider. What happens when nature pushes back against our best-laid plans? After exploring the bold vision of turning the Sahara into a green oasis, it's clear this idea is as fascinating as it is challenging. You've uncovered how it could fight climate change, restore biodiversity, and even reshape human history. But you've also seen the immense risks and questions it raises. Doesn't it make you wonder just how much of the world's mysteries are waiting to be uncovered, and how those discoveries could redefine everything we know? Now, imagine being part of a community that thrives on exploring these groundbreaking ideas. A group of people driven by curiosity, ready to uncover the secrets that shape our world. Do you want to join them? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to dive deeper into the ideas that make you smarter, more informed, and ready to see the world in a whole new way. Together, let's uncover the stories that might just change the future.